Hey, it's Marina. How are you doing? When you love somebody, and I'm talking about close relationships now, when you love somebody, but you don't really feel seen, what do you do? Right? What we normally do is we try and make that person see us. If we don't feel heard, we will try and act differently so that we're heard. It's so important for us to be heard and seen. And particularly after being in one-sided relationships where it's all about them, not about us, where we've had narcissistic abuse, where we've been in these toxic, difficult relationships, where the only person that was seen and heard, right, there's only one person that was seen as heard, and it certainly wasn't us, it was them. When we've been in these relationships and then we come into healthier relationships, but we still don't feel seen and we still don't feel heard, but you love each other, what do you do, right? What do you do? So often we might have these sit down chats with them to tell them what we need. It doesn't really work. So often we will just adjust our behavior. And what I see from a lot of people who have been in these difficult relationships is we withdraw. We're much more likely, aren't we? If we don't feel seen and heard, we just kind of withdraw and we become that lone ranger where we do a lot more on our own. And quite often we will do the more difficult times of our life on our own, often the most difficult times of our life on our own. Maybe we don't share fully what happened in the day because we just feel like we're going to be too much for people. We feel like we're going to overwhelm people because in our prior relationships, anything that we said, anything that we did was an overwhelm for that narcissist. If you ever are with a narcissist and you're not feeding them, right, adulation, you're not feeding them the good feelings, right? You're not happy. You've got an issue, you've got a problem, you've got a challenge, and maybe you're going to try and talk to them about it. All they're going to hear is that you're going to land on them and they hate it. And they're going to react with anger, they're going to react with blame, or they're going to react by being the victim. And it will all be about how you are affecting them, never about how they could be helping you. It's all going to be about them. It's highly, highly toxic. When you've come from that dynamic, you're going to find that in genuine relationships now, if you're in a genuine relationship, or even if you're just out and about and you're asking somebody for help, could be at the supermarket, could be in a cafe, you probably won't. You're probably going to try and do it on your own, right? That's because somewhere along the line, guess what, right? You're not used to genuinely feeling safe enough, and you're not used to being heard and being seen and people being really there for you. So we can't change people, but what we can do is change our energy, right? Change that old template that used to be around us. I call it the narcissistic template, right? Which basically means we overgive in relationships and we under-receive and we accept that as normal. What we can do is start to go, all right, even though I love you and I know you love me, I'm still not feeling truly like you see me and you get me. And I'm going to stop trying to explain myself to you because you're not hearing me. But the clue in that is I'm not hearing myself. If I can really hear me, and if I really start to see me, and by that I mean you see and you hear genuinely how you're feeling in any given moment. And instead of overriding it, instead of jumping out and going, oh, well, it's okay, I'm just going to do this, right? So it could be something really, really simple, like I need the loo. I was on a podcast just recently and we were talking about this, right? You need to pee, but what do? You hold it in for hours, right? We're not doing that. Go to the loo, okay? I used to do that for years and years and years. And then I'm like, you know what? That's not happening anymore. If you need something, give it to yourself. Part of healing from narcissistic abuse is no longer being a slave to another at the expense of yourself. It's actually turning that outward energy that goes out to people all the time and turning it into you, right? So that you're the beneficiary of your beautiful energy. Otherwise, everyone else benefits from your light but you. And so that's a big turnaround. It can take years to actually get that happening again when you've spent years with the energy going out. So how can we be seen, right? How do we allow that to occur? Well, when you start really hearing yourself and really backing yourself, taking action for yourself, and it can be in the little steps, doesn't have to be a big thing, like just regularly every day, you keep your promises to yourself every day. It could just be one promise a day. That energy starts to shift around you, and you won't need to say anything to the person that you love. What will always happen is that person will either rise up with you and just start looking at you more and ask you more questions, and you'll find they'll be more present with you because you're being more present with you. Or if they don't, the gap will just widen and they'll fall away. Every time you heal, people will rise up with you or fall away. So if you ever feel like, oh my God, they're just not seeing, they're not getting it, and you feel like you're frustrated because you're saying over and over and over and over and over, can you bring it back to you and empower yourself to go, well, what if I become this person where I genuinely look for the areas where I haven't been hearing myself? That might be in my health. That might be to do with my business. Maybe I'm not truly backing myself. Like I'm not truly putting my social media out like I said I was gonna. I'm not making the calls that I said I was gonna. I'm not asking the people for help that I said I was gonna. I don't want to do it on my own, right? Because a huge part of you actually hearing and seeing yourself isn't doing it on your own. It's actually asking people for help, those that you feel emotionally safe with. Then the energy around you changes. And mark my words, I have coached thousands of people and this always works. I have never seen it not work because this is literally the laws of the universe. So best news ever. You don't need to change them. You don't need to do any of that because that's just going to give you a headache. Start with beautiful you. And a great place to begin is to consistently ask yourself during the day, could be once or twice a day, but just start the pattern. What do I need? Oh, I need this. Okay, go give it to you. Change that energy, reroute that energy from going out to coming back in, right? And when you do that, you're going to rise. You're going to be in sharp focus, right, for your beautiful self. And that will set up a whole chain of reaction for the energy to come out of you and for that to be returned to you. And we're not doing it for that, right? That's the amazing side effect that happens when we do that. But we're doing it about us, because for somebody where it's always been about them, now it's got to be about you. I hope this helps you.